Children are supposed to be harmless. They play, laugh, and look up to adults for guidance. But some young minds harbor something disturbingly different, an ability to calculate evil long before they understand the value of life. This chapter introduces one of the most chilling examples of a child who didn't just react in anger. She planned to kill. In Newcastle, England, in 1968, 11-year-old Mary Bell looked like any other little girl. Small, quiet, and often overlooked, Mary didn't fit the Hollywood idea of a killer. But behind her calm blue eyes was a hunger for control and a fascination with death. On May 25th, the day before her 11th birthday, Mary convinced 4-year-old Martin Brown to follow her to an abandoned house. There, she strangled him with her bare hands. There was no panic, no impulse, just cold determination. When the police ruled the death accidental, Mary didn't feel relief. She felt insulted. They hadn't noticed her work, so Mary escalated. She vandalized a local nursery school with a handwritten message, "I kill so that I may come back." Her chilling pride didn't stop there. Weeks later, she targeted another boy, 3-year-old Brian Howe. This time, she persuaded an accomplice to lure him away. She strangled him, then staged his body, cutting his hair and leaving marks carved into his skin. Investigators later discovered that she attempted to initial the corpse, as if signing her crime. Mary didn't hide. She stayed close to the police, asked questions, even visited the grieving parents under the guise of innocence. It wasn't guilt, it was curiosity. When she was finally arrested, her lack of remorse shocked the courtroom. A psychiatrist called her intelligent, manipulative, and dangerous. She wasn't lashing out blindly. She was studying fear and mastering it like a game. Her crimes leave us with a question far more haunting than the murders themselves. If a child can pause, think, plan, and then destroy a life, what does that say about the true nature of evil? Sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones who haven't even reached middle school. When we think of best friends, we imagine shared secrets, teenage crushes, schoolyard jokes. But for some kids, friendship becomes a weapon, a pact that turns dark intentions into deadly plans. In 1954 New Zealand, teenagers Pauline Parker, 16, and Juliet Hume, 15, forged a friendship that became dangerously obsessive. Both girls felt misunderstood by their families and developed a fantasy world where they were superior to everyone else. They believed they were destined for greatness, and that anyone who stood in their way should be removed. That obstacle soon became Pauline's mother, Honora Parker. Honora worried the friendship was unhealthy. She wanted to separate the girls, even send Juliet away. Pauline, desperate and angry, wrote in her diary that her mother must die. What began as a frustrated teen's scribbled words quickly evolved into a carefully planned murder. The girls stalked Honora's routines. They selected a location, a quiet pathway in Victoria Park. They chose a weapon, a half-brick inside a stocking, something they believed wouldn't draw attention. They practiced alibis, each step rehearsed like a crime-scripted play. On June 22, 1954, the girls invited Honora for a walk through the park. They laughed, chatted, and appeared like ordinary teens spending time together. Then, at a predetermined moment, they attacked. It wasn't quick. It wasn't clean. It was brutal, evidence that plans created in fantasy rarely look like the movies. After the murder, the girls rushed to authorities with their alibi, a supposed accident. But detectives quickly saw through their story. A brick doesn't accidentally strike someone multiple times in the head. Blood patterns, footprints, and the girls' own shifting statements exposed the premeditation behind the attack. During the trial, the girls showed limited remorse. Their writings, especially Pauline's diary, revealed chilling excitement leading up to the murder. The judge and jury were stunned by how carefully the teenagers planned the killing. Emotionally detached, rational, and aware of consequences, but determined enough to ignore them. The case sparked global fear. How could such young girls carry out a murder that required strategy instead of rage? It challenged the world's assumptions about teenage innocence and forced society to confront a deeply uncomfortable truth. Sometimes, the most dangerous alliances aren't made by criminals on the street. but by kids who pinky swear they'll always stay together. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Some killers act out of anger, some from fear, but a chilling few are driven by something more disturbing, the desire to be remembered. In 1998, in Jonesboro, Arkansas, two boys, Mitchell Johnson, 13, and Andrew Golden, 11, prepared for what they believed would make them icons of terror. These weren't spur-of-the-moment decisions. Their plan was elaborate, almost military-like. Mitchell, the older of the two, talked often about becoming famous. Andrew, with a calm and emotionless demeanor, enjoyed firearms and target practice. Together, their disturbing fantasies evolved into coordinated intent. The boys stole a van, broke into Andrew's grandfather's gun collection, and armed themselves with multiple high-powered weapons. They packed survival gear, snacks, and even a tent, a chilling sign that they didn't expect to be caught quickly. Their goal wasn't just to kill. It was to escape afterward and watch the chaos unfold. On March 24, 1998, they pulled the fire alarm at Westside Middle School, deliberately forcing students and teachers outside into an open area. Then, hiding in the woods with rifles, they waited. When the hallway doors opened, they began shooting methodically, not randomly. 5 people died, including 4 students. 10 others were wounded, every victim under the age of 13. Witnesses described an unsettling detail. There was no hesitation in the shooters, no panic. They reloaded with focus and confidence, just as they had practiced. When police caught them trying to drive away, both boys seemed surprised their plan didn't work. They had imagined a legacy. Their names spread through headlines, their attacks studied and admired by others like them. Investigators later discovered threatening notes, detailed preparation, and chilling journal entries explaining why they wanted infamy. They had attacked the one place where children are supposed to feel safest, school. The case led to legal outrage across America. Because of their young ages, neither boy could be given a life sentence under Arkansas law. Mitchell and Andrew were released from juvenile custody on their 21st birthdays, leaving families of the victims asking, how can someone so young plan something so monstrous and then walk free before they're even old enough to drink? This was more than violence. It was aspiration, a desire to be known through destruction. A warning that the darkest motives can exist in the youngest minds, long before adulthood. Before smartphones, evidence of premeditation lived in diaries and whispered conversations. But today, the most chilling proof of planning hides in chat logs, social media, and deleted browser history. The next case reveals how digital footprints exposed a teenager who turned anger into a deadly blueprint. In 2012, 14-year-old Alexis Sinclair, fictional name used for victim respect, from Washington State, was known as quiet and emotionally reserved. But beneath the silence was a growing obsession with revenge. She believed one of her closest friends had betrayed her. Instead of confronting or distancing herself, Alexis began outlining a plan, step by step, to eliminate the person she blamed. She messaged classmates, testing reactions with statements like, "Would anyone care if she disappeared? Sometimes people don't deserve to live." Most assumed it was typical teen dramatics. But Alexis wasn't joking. Over weeks, she researched topics like how to kill someone without leaving evidence and poisons in the home. Her search history revealed detailed study into methods that required precision rather than strength, proof of intent far beyond childish impulse. She built trust with her target again, acting friendly, apologizing, creating the illusion of repaired friendship. It was manipulation executed with patience, not panic. One afternoon, she invited the friend to hang out at a local park. Everything was pre-planned. The location, the timing, the weapon, a knife she had stolen and hidden in her backpack. Witnesses later described Alexis as calm, even cheerful, right up until the moment she attacked. The friend survived, but the injuries were life-threatening. Investigators immediately noticed that nothing about the attack felt sudden. The planning was written everywhere, literally. Detectives uncovered emails, text messages, and notes outlining the motive and method. In the interrogation room, Alexis showed a chilling level of emotional distance. She didn't deny what she did. She explained it, point by point, as though presenting a school assignment she had worked hard on. Her trial revealed the terrifying ease with which the modern world can aid premeditated crime. Technology had become both her weapon and her downfall. Psychologists questioned what was more disturbing, the attack itself, or the fact that someone so young could maintain a plan rooted in hatred for so long. Alexis didn't snap. She studied, she prepared, she executed. And that is what separates teen rage from real, intentional darkness. When children kill, the world searches for reasons. We blame violent media, bullying, broken families, or untreated mental illness. But the hardest cases to understand are the ones where the violence is planned, carefully, quietly, and without hesitation. Each case in this story forces us to confront the darker side of childhood. Mary Bell, a young girl who treated murder like a secret project. Pauline and Juliet, best friends who planned a killing to protect a fantasy world. Mitchell and Andrew, boys who wanted their names carved into history through destruction. Alexis, a teen who let revenge simmer into a calculated assassination attempt. None of these crimes were accidents. None were heat-of-the-moment explosions. They were blueprint, evidence of children capable of long-term malicious thought. So the question becomes, are these kids predators or products of their environments? Psychologists argue that children rarely act alone in shaping evil. Abuse, neglect, trauma, and social rejection can fuel dangerous behavior. Some young offenders show early signs of mental disorders that go unnoticed or dismissed until it's too late. But even with explanations, the fear remains. Backhand index pointing right, how can someone so young understand death deeply enough to choose it for someone else? The justice system struggles with this question. Children are still developing. Their brains, especially the areas responsible for empathy and moral judgment, aren't fully formed. Many experts believe kids can be rehabilitated, that they deserve a second chance before their lives even begin. Yet victims' families ask something just as important. Where is the second chance for the ones who never got to grow up? Every courtroom decision involving a juvenile murderer becomes a battle between forgiveness and fear. Release them too early, and society worries they will strike again. Lock them away forever, and we risk failing a child who might have been saved. What is the right answer? There may not be one. The truth is chillingly simple. Youth does not guarantee innocence. Age does not prevent evil. And behind some of the smallest smiles can hide the darkest intentions. As long as children can plan violence, the world must remain vigilant, searching for warning signs, protecting the vulnerable, and asking the question nobody wants to face. If kids can think ahead, if they can plan murder, what will stop the next one?